Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. Wow, big crowd. It's always great to see, a full assembly out there. Welcome. We really appreciate everybody being here. And I'll go ahead and call this meeting to order on April 23rd, 2024, and ask the city clerk to please call roll.
Commissioner Guess, Commissioner Henderson,
Present.
Commissioner Smith,
Here.
Commissioner Wilson,
Present.
Mayor Bray.
Present. And I'll just mention that Commissioner Guess is not here. He had to kind of bow out at the last minute. His father's in the hospital and I think maybe having heart surgery tonight. So with that, I'll ask Commissioner Wilson to do the invocation and we'll remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Heavenly Father, thank you on behalf of all of us who are gathered here for the many blessings that we have. Thank you for the ability to be involved in useful work on behalf of our community. We come to you asking for guidance and support as we begin this meeting. Please grant us wisdom as we make decisions on behalf of our citizens. Please be with those who are in need of your healing and with Commissioner Guess's father tonight. Thank you for everything that we have. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
City Manager, are there any additions or deletions to the agenda?
Mayor, none this evening.
Okay, great. The first thing on the agenda then is a proclamation in recognition of Mental Health Awareness Month. And we have a number of providers here, I believe, from the community to receive the award. But actually, Dr. Femina, I believe, we're told that with Mercy Health is going to receive the proclamation on behalf of everyone. So if you'd come up. So I'll read the proclamation. Whereas mental health is essential to every person's health and well-being, and whereas early intervention, and access to first-rate care are crucial for managing mental health conditions, and whereas our community is fortunate to have several healthcare providers that assist in all steps of recovery for individuals suffering, and whereas the Board of Commissioners is focused on bringing awareness to mental health and advocating for a community where everyone feels empowered to prioritize their mental well-being. And now, therefore, I, George P. Bray, Mayor of the City of Paducah, proclaim May 2024 as Mental Health Awareness Month in the City of Paducah, and I encourage all citizens to educate yourselves and others about mental health conditions, treatment options, and available resources. Challenge stigma by speaking respectfully about mental health. Seek help if struggling with mental health and encourage others to do the same. Support organizations that provide mental health services and advocacy, and create safe and supportive environments for open conversations about mental health. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor Bray, and thank you, City Commissioners. On behalf of Mercy Health and all the local providers, we really appreciate you that you recognize May as a Mental Health Awareness Month, and that you're helping us to spread awareness and help us improve understanding and acceptance of these important issues. The need for our services is growing, and we're here to support our community members. And I would like to thank all the providers here for their dedication and hard work. Together we can fight mental illness, improve awareness, improve the quality of life of so many people, and build a better future for our city.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We get a photo op. Okay, we can.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Was there anyone else that wanted to say anything on behalf of the Dr. Blue?
Yes, I would just like to say.
You want to come up here to this podium?
Sure, sure. Hi, I would just like to say, having worked in Louisville for over 20 years and moved back to my hometown of Paducah, Kentucky, we have a lot of psychiatrists and mental health providers in Louisville. But Paducah has been really very, very responsive to the needs of children and adults and the homeless who have mental health issues. And I think if anyone has worked in a large city and they come to a small town or a small city like Paducah, they will find that we take the resources we have and we use them the best we can, and we are very inclusive in treating individuals who have these mental health needs. And Paducah has been very receptive to that, and I've been so pleased in coming back, and since I've been back since 2014, at how responsive the City of Paducah is to the people who have mental health needs. And I wanted to express that since we're embarking on May Mental Health Month. And a shout out to Mercy, because they brought me back here, paid my moving expenses, and I was their medical director for 5 years and helped get Dr. Femina and Dr. Owsley here, and they do a great job, along with Kentucky Care and Emerald Therapy and all the other providers who are here with your help. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Dr. Blue. You have quite a reputation, quite a good reputation, and we're pleased to have you and all the other providers here tonight. And I just, the commission has, under the leadership of Commissioner Henderson, has really begun to recognize mental health awareness much more. And so hopefully you're going to see more things from our perspective to make sure that our community is aware of the needs in this community. And I think that proclamation really said it all. So thank you very much. Okay, with here we have a presentation. Next we have a presentation from Danny Mullen, the golf director. And did I miss something? Oh, sorry. I've got. Everybody's see, this is the way it is here. So I'm not going to get up for this, but this is this is also Municipal Clerks month in the state of Kentucky, and just to talk a little bit about our clerks. Claudia here is our assistant city clerk. Our city clerk is off today. She's actually at training this week, and that's one of the things that clerks really do is go through a lot of training. There's a lot of certifications. There's a lot of detail that goes on behind the scenes to make sure that our laws, our ordinances, our records are all kept up to date. And so I want to recognize through this proclamation our municipal clerks. So, and I'll read that. Whereas the office of the professional municipal clerk, a time-honored and vital part of local government, exists throughout the world. And whereas the office of municipal clerk provides the professional link between citizens, the local governing bodies, and agencies of government at other levels, and is the information center on functions of local government and community. And whereas professional municipal clerks continually strive to improve the administration of the affairs of the office through participation in education programs, seminars, workshops, and the annual meetings of their state, provincial, county, and international professional organizations. Whereas it is most appropriate that we recognize the accomplishments of the Office of the Professional Municipal Clerk. Now therefore, I, George Bray, Mayor of the City of Paducah, do recognize the week of May 5th through May 11th, 2024 as Professional Municipal Clerks Week, and further extend appreciation to Lindsay Parrish and Claudia Meeks and to all professional municipal clerks for the vital services they perform and their exemplary dedication to the communities they represent.
You know, the funny thing about that is that Claudia probably had to write that.
Bev actually wrote this one.
There's not anything funny about it.
And I was in training all last week, so.
Yeah, clerks really do go through a lot of training, and man, the detail behind the scenes is unbelievable. Okay, so now we will move to a presentation by Danny Mullen, Golf Director and Resident Pro for Paxton Park Paxton Park Golf Course. And I think he's joined by a number of his Golf Commission members. We are so appreciative of the volunteer service that they give. So, Danny, we're going to leave it up to you.
Thank you. We appreciate the invitation to come down. And I would like to do one thing before we get started. I would like to echo my congratulations and appreciation for Ms. Claudia. She's helped keep us straight for many years. Thank you very much. She's a big help. We just wanted to come down and give you a little update on golf. The industry's had its downturns. It's been up three of the last 4 years. Municipal golf in particular seems to be doing better. And I'm happy to tell you that Paxton Park is also up 3 of the last 4 years. It was a tough 3 years prior to that, but it's up now. And COVID wasn't good for a lot of things, but it was good for golf. So hopefully we'll keep those golfers coming out. We want to thank you all for your investment and your help and your support in Paxton Park, and let everybody out there know that our golf commission is ahead of the game. Our city commission is ahead of the game. We've got a little flyer up here that the National Golf Foundation put out about 3 weeks ago, talking about municipal golf. And I don't know if any of you know anything about the golf business, but the golf industry overbuilt back in the 90s and the early 2000s. Since about 2006, the number of golf facilities has been shrinking. However, the municipal golf supply has been growing during that time. They're now up to about 3,000 golf courses that are municipally owned, and there's about 64 in Kentucky, which kind of surprised me. There's more in Kentucky than there are some other states that are actually bigger and more populous. But this one-page summary has a lot of information on it on municipal golf. And one of the reasons for that are some of the benefits the golf courses are bringing to the community. And there's several up there. I'm going to highlight it real quick. I didn't bring all this to talk about. I just wanted to have it ready in case you all had questions I couldn't remember. I might have to reference something to answer. The green space, that's obvious. It's a beautiful green space. Therapeutic. It's good to look at. It's good to enjoy. It's good to experience. The environmental benefits. I remember one year about 15 years ago that Rick Murphy called out there one day after a heavy summer rain. And some of the folks that live downstream from the golf course were complaining that the golf course was contributing to their flooding. So Rick came out, he wanted to look and see what was going on. It was within 2 hours of about a 4-inch rain, if I'm not mistaken. And we had some old bridges that had been there for 30 or 40 years. They were going to have to be replaced. So I said, come on out, Rick, come look at this. Well, he came out, he looked at it, and when he got through, he left and said, those bridges are actually acting like cofferdams, and if you know what a cofferdam is, slows water down. The bridges were forcing the water to narrow and slowing it down. So I was disappointed because I thought maybe the city wanted to put in some new bridges that would be more effective. But he was convinced that it was helping the downstream flooding. It also slows down the erosion and the runoff. I can tell you that when I was a kid out there, I could jump across a lot of those ditches. And we used to push mow them, they weren't that big. And now they're like canyons because of the upstream development. So there's a lot of water runoff that comes through there. Wildlife, we've probably got 12 or 13 varieties of wildlife out there in the evenings. You would be surprised at some of the things that are out there. The turtles, snakes, squirrels, all the things everyone has. We've got 12 or 13 varieties of wildlife out there. And we had a fellow who was in for the quilt show this week. He's from Connecticut. The first question he had was, do you all have alligators? I've never had that question asked. But he'd been to North Carolina and they had alligators and he was concerned. So I told him, I said, the worst thing out here is the snakes. So, employment, we've probably got 18 people out there that work out there at various jobs. And it takes all of the folks out there to make that work. And as you mentioned, our golf commission is here. Our executive committee is here. Those folks do a great job and they come out there with one item on their agenda, and that's the betterment of the facility. So we are blessed with a good golf commission. A couple of members are not here tonight. One is guarding the quilts downtown. Robert Bryant, newest member of our commission, and Mark Thompson is out of town. So we've got a great golf commission and a good team. Health and wellness, that's obvious. People come out, they get some walking, they get some exercise. Even when they're riding, they're getting some exercise. The fellowship, probably half of our membership is seniors. They are seniors. They get to a point in life where, they're not employed anymore, but they get fellowship through the golf course, through their camaraderie out there. They get exercise, they get fresh air. And I guess between that and church and the grocery store, that's probably it for a lot of them. But they get some activity, and I'm a firm believer in being active because the people out there that have done the best, the longest, have been those that stay active. So we're happy to be part of that. We appreciate them coming out and we encourage that. Community asset. We host a number of fundraisers, charitable events. A lot of our nonprofit organizations in town have a number of fundraisers. Golf tournaments are one of those. So we're happy to participate with that and give them a venue for that. Role in onboarding and player development. A lot of this relates to juniors. We don't have a formal junior program out there, but we give access to 3 of the high schools to play golf. Kids that want to donate some community service hours get year-round golf privileges, range privileges. We participate in an organization called Youth on Course. If any of you have heard of that, it's a national organization that enlists the help of golf facilities across the country. And the kids can come out and play golf for a nominal fee, $5 in most places. And that's what we charge. That makes golf affordable for them, gives them access. And I can tell you the participation in that program has been exploding the last few years. So from what I've seen out there, one of the greatest golf initiatives for junior golf is that program. It probably quadrupled the number of kids coming out between 22 and 23 because it's affordable. Now when they become 18, they're no longer eligible under the national rules. But hopefully by then, we've got them hooked on the game, and maybe we still have junior green fees, so they're reduced as well, so they can come out and play under those situations. And social, I mentioned that, it's fellowship. It's a chance to belong and camaraderie, aggravate your friends, get out of the house and give your wife a break in some cases. I can't tell you, I've been there for a long time, and I cannot tell you all the things I've seen that people get out of that facility other than golf. You can't really explain it. You see it in families, you see it in generations, you see it in the young people as they mature and they get older. Many of our sponsors come back because they started there as kids, maybe through high school golf. they get in positions where they can help, and they have a lot of fond memories, so they want to come back and do that. So Paxton Park is very fortunate to have the friends that it has in the community. But it is a lot of folks out there involved in making that work, the facility work. And we want to positively represent the city. We want to positively represent our sponsors, our community supporters that have helped that facility renovate over the last 20 years. So we're conscious of that every day. And that being the case, I do want to say one other thing, then I'll take whatever questions you've got. We work with the public. I know some days are better than others. I want to take this chance to thank you all for your decision to serve the public, because that's what we do out there, and we don't have nearly the folks to answer to that you do. So thank you all for what you do. Now, we'll be happy to take any questions. Does anybody else in the commission want to come speak?
Well, thank you, Danny. One of the things you might want to tell the commissioners about is, you and I have had a little discussion lately about the Irvin Cobb,
Yes, sir.
the big tournament that we have in the summer, which really we've been going for I don't know how many years.
Since it actually started in 1937. The course opened in 39. It started at what's now Rolling Hills Country Club. That was the Municipal golf course of Paducah at the time. Paxton Park is actually the third municipal golf course. The first one was adjacent to Noble Park. Not many people know that. But it's been going since 1937. It's the biggest tournament in our area and has been for a long time. Has pros, has amateurs. We have a little more than 100 players usually in the tournament. We used to have more. We scaled it back to threesomes instead of foursomes because the players have a better experience. Mark was instrumental in that because Mark was a national amateur competing all the time, and he's going around seeing all these good things and bringing them back and saying, let's try this, and that's one of them we tried. And I will tell you, it worked great. I mean, the players' experience was better. Our experience was better. Didn't have as much slow play. Everybody got along better. Everybody had more fun. But the tournament really depends on community sponsors. It's got about a $50,000 budget. The title sponsors are Banterra Bank and Jim Smith Contracting. But we have probably 8 or 10 other sponsors in the community that help make that tournament work. Half of the budget is made up of entry fees, half of it is made up of sponsors. We would like to grow that tournament a little bit. Now, in order to do that, we need more sponsorship from the community. More people in the community, businesses generally, that want to sponsor the tournament. We profile our sponsors year-round at that facility. It's not just during the weekend. The Cobb probably has the second biggest amateur purse in the state at this point, and behind the Kentucky Open and the Kentucky Amateur, it has the second biggest pro purse. So on a yearly recurring basis, it's one of the biggest golf tournaments in the state. But we have people usually from 10 or 12 states come in. It's usually 2/3 pros, 1/3 amateur, or excuse me, 2/3 amateurs, 1/3 pros. It's been skewing a little bit more to the pros the last few years, but we don't want that to get out of hand because the biggest component of this was the amateur event. That's what it started as. Kenny and Russ have both played in it. They've both won it a number of times. Many people off the tour have come in and played this tournament. Years ago, Bob Goldby played in it, went on to win the Masters. There's been a number of big names played in it. So now it's generally the professionals are the mini tour guys trying to make the big tour. And they come in from all over the country many times and play in it. And they're trying to, Tim O'Neill won it 2 years in a row. Tim's now on the Champions Tour, playing against the other pros on the Champions Tour. There was another fellow that played a couple of years ago. He went on to get his tour card. That's what all of them are trying to do. They're trying to get to the next level. So Paducah's Paxton Park and Irvin Cobb are a stepping stone to that. So they're trying to improve their lives, get to that next level where we all watch them on television. And this is one of the ways they get there. So it's a very good tournament.
So you mentioned access, and golf often is kind of looked looked at as an elite sport.
Yes, sir.
You know, it's not a cheap sport, you know,
Right.
to have clubs and the right clothes and that sort of thing. But I know that that we've had scholarships available for members, for example, the Boys and Girls Club and different. Can you talk a little bit about, you mentioned it, but talk a little bit more about that. if you
Well,
will.
we've had kids that have played out there for years that if they came out and they wanted to play golf and they didn't have the means, but they wanted to play, then we put them on scholarship because we see that as a youth development. We see that as a way of giving back to our community. We give access to the high school kids in those programs for the same reason. That's a way we can give back. The community is what renovated that facility over the last 20 years. This is a way we can give back to the community, well, without spending any money. And that is the future of golf. Those kids are the future of golf. So we have the community service hours for the kids that may play on the golf teams that don't have the money to join. Many of them belong to the country clubs, but if they don't, they want to play golf year-round, all we ask is some community service hours. It doesn't even have to be spent at Paxton Park. Could be spent doing something else in the community. That's also a teaching tool for the kids to learn to give back, so they're not so entitled. There aren't as many opportunities sometimes for kids to do something to earn it as opposed to just being given. So we feel like that's one thing that we can do. So that's not something we really go out and broadcast, but it's based on who comes out. Somebody comes out and they want to play, we try to help them find a way to do that. Youth on course, honestly, has greatly diminished the need for us to do that because it's so much affordable for they can play here or they can play. Everybody in West Kentucky doesn't participate in that, but Paxton does, 2 or 3 other courses do, but it's a great thing for the kids. $5 is not much money. But again, if there's a young player who wants to play golf and they want to come out there, then we try to help them do that. And we've had other people in the community that have sponsored different scholarships over the years for kids that are interested. So.
I'm really proud of you all. You're a great asset to our city. I think when I was very first elected, you were one of my first meetings that you'd reached out. So
Yes, ma'am.
we've come a long way through the years of the city's support to help you. You're just a real jewel in our community. So thank you.
Thank you.
for your service.
Thank you. Thank you.
We appreciate it. And this is like a common mantra with me. This is another service that the city of Paducah provides that benefits not just city residents, but the entire western Kentucky. So people that it is supported by the city. And so just like for the community to realize that this is just a service that a lot of people get that the city pays for that we wouldn't have otherwise. So.
Right.
You're absolutely right. The entire West Kentucky community patronizes Paxton Park. They benefit from some of the workshops or the rules workshops Dean does. We invite the golf community. They don't have to be in Paducah. The other interesting thing about that facility in this town is we have this interstate. You'd be amazed how many people come through there off the interstate. They're just passing through. And if we don't recognize them, we'll usually ask, where are you from? Where are you going? You know, just to get to know them a little bit. It's very interesting to see where they come from through our town and where they're going. And you'd be surprised at some of the things going on in our area, not just Paducah, that they're here for. But it very much benefits the community.
I was just sitting here thinking that I have a good friend who was a pastor, and he called in to his church one morning and told the head deacon that he was not going to come in because he was sick. But instead he went to Paxton Park. And, when he got out there, he teed off, and there was a big breeze that came and took that ball. I mean, took way out. He got was a hole in one. And the angel looked at God and said, well, what'd you do that for? And God said, well, who's he going to tell?
We have some of that too.
This is going somewhere along.
We try to use our discretion.
Don't want you to call any names or anything like
Don't
that.
have a hole in one because we do put that in the newspaper.
Danny, this commission has been real committed last couple of years to invest in our facilities, and Paxton Park is a city-owned facility, and I know that we've had the opportunity to help with the clubhouse, repainting and doing that. We've also got a project that is getting started or getting ready to get started. You want to talk about that, please?
Yes, sir. I mentioned the amount of water that comes through that facility now because of the development upstream. There is, one of our tee boxes has probably a 50-year-old pipe under it. It's a series of concrete culvert pipes that have been put together. And the tee box continues to erode because the seams in the concrete culverts have separated over time through settling. And there are holes up there probably 3 foot deep that we continue to try to fill. And at some point, it becomes a safety issue. So beginning Thursday, I think the crew's coming out to try to replace that pipe. City engineering came out, looked at it, recommended what to put back in there so we don't change the dynamics of the water going downstream. But it's always a bigger project than you think it is once it gets started. But we thank you for that because that's been a problem for years, and we keep filling the holes up and they keep washing out. But that's one of those things that has to be done. And once it's done, it'll be fixed for a number of years. But the volume of water coming through that facility is tremendous. I mean, it's like rivers when you get a big rain. But we thank you for that. Those things make the facility better. They make a better impression on people coming out there. We couldn't do what we do without your help. As I mentioned before, it's a team effort out there, and you all are a big part of that team. You're as important as anybody else on that team, and we thank you for that.
Danny,
Say thank you.
thank you for being here. Thank all the Golf Commission members for being here, executive committee, and for serving. It's very important. It's a very important asset to the community, and so we're very appreciative.
Well,
Thanks for being here.
It's a privilege for us to be able to serve the community because we have a good one. So
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move to the consent agenda. Items on the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the Board of Commissioners and will be enacted by one motion and one vote. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a board member so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. The city clerk will read the items recommended for approval unless any commissioner would like an item removed for separate discussion. Okay, city clerk, please read the items recommended for approval.
Approve minutes for the April 9th, 2024 Board of Commissioners meeting. Receive and file documents. Appoint Catherine Sen to the Paducah Water Board to replace Eddie Barker, who has resigned. This term shall expire January 6, 2025. Reappointment of Paul King to the Forest Hills Village Incorporated Board. This term shall expire May 6, 2029. Personnel actions. A municipal order authorizing upper story residential grant funds in the amount of $75,000 to BHIK LLC for apartments at 219 Broadway, and further authorizing transfer of $75,000 from administrative contingency funds. A municipal order authorizing the mayor to execute an application for an FY 2024 Kentucky League of Cities Safety Grant in the amount of $3,000 for partial reimbursement of the purchase of a 66-inch mower that can be used on steep slopes and difficult terrain, accepting any grant funds awarded by KLCIS, and authorizing the mayor to execute all documents related to same. A municipal order approving an agreement to provide local match in the amount of $5,305.50 for metropolitan transportation planning between the City of Paducah and Purchase Area Development District, and authorizing the mayor to execute all documents related to same.
So moved.
Second.
Call roll.
Commissioner Henderson,
Aye.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson,
Aye.
Mayor Bray.
Aye. Okay, we'll move to, we have two municipal orders to consider tonight. The first one is a little bit of a change from on a grant application that we've had to make some adjustments to. So is Hope here? Okay. Yeah, I'll go ahead and have our clerk read it.
A proposed motion of the Board of Commissioners to adopt a municipal order entitled, "A Municipal Order Repealing Municipal Order Number 2882 and Authorizing the Mayor to Execute a Grant Application and All Documents Necessary to Apply for a Mellon Foundation Grant in the amount of $1,340,000 for the Hotel Metropolitan for capital improvements and capacity building for the organization."
So moved.
Second.
Oh,
Good evening. So 2 weeks ago, we were here, and the commission passed a municipal order stating that we supported the application for the Uppertown Heritage Foundation to apply for this grant from the Mellon Foundation for $1.34 million. Also, as part of that municipal order, we stated that the City of Paducah would serve as the fiscal agent for that grant and assist with managing the funds, and that the city and the Uppertown Heritage Foundation would jointly oversee the programmatic components of that. In that municipal order, there was also discussion, or it was passed, that the city would provide additional funds in the amount of $250,000 for this, for fiscal year '25, if, along the lines of contingent upon, sorry, couldn't think of the right words, contingent upon a co-stewardship agreement between the city and Uppertown Heritage Foundation, which outlines the responsibilities of each. Since that time, we have received feedback from the Mellon Foundation, and they are very much in support of the city serving as a fiscal manager. However, they would like the city to be the recipient of the grant. Their legal department said there's not really a good way for the application, the grant award to go to the Uppertown Heritage Foundation and then the money be given to the city. There was also not a really good way for the Uppertown Heritage Foundation to be the recipient and receive the funds and then transfer those funds to the city. That just wasn't an option either. So this came back as the best solution. Basically, everything else stays the same as far as the responsibilities and what the city's going to do and what the Heritage Foundation is going to do. It's just changing that the city is the recipient of the grant.
okay.
Sounds good.
No questions. I think we're good.
Okay. Thank you.
Call roll.
Commissioner Henderson?
Aye.
Commissioner Smith?
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson?
Aye.
Mayor Bray?
Aye. I will make one comment just about the Hotel Metropolitan and the grant. I just want to reemphasize, the importance of the Uppertown Heritage Foundation and the Hotel Metropolitan and the co-stewardship agreement that the city will enter into with them. And when we talk about co-stewardship, we talk about really being a team. The city in no way, wants to be involved with the Hotel Metropolitan in any kind of ownership way, in any way, shape, or form. But we do want to do everything that we can to ensure its success. So this co-stewardship agreement will in fact do that. It does give us some say-so, in how we move forward, but we move forward as a team. And I think I just want to reemphasize that to everybody in the community as we move forward. And I thank Miss Betty for being here tonight to represent the Hotel Metropolitan.
I guess it's probably worth you coming down here for 1.34 million.
And I would like to thank you all for your support.
Is it worth a pie?
I don't know how it's going to affect our ethics code.
Thank you, Miss Betty. Okay, we'll go to the second municipal order, and I'll ask the city clerk to read it, please.
A proposed motion of the Board of Commissioners to adopt a municipal order entitled, "A Municipal Order Authorizing the Mayor to Execute a Contract with A&K Construction, Inc. in the amount of $779,104 for the re-roof and renovation of the Technology Department."
So moved.
Second. Oh, sorry. I just wanted that to happen so quickly.
Chris, you want to tell us about this?
Good evening. Yes, we were previously tasked as far as the technology department to create spaces for 8 employees. I'm not sure if you all have been in the technology building over there, but there's currently 5 offices, and it's kind of difficult to get 8 people in that space. At initial $779, that includes the re-roofing of the entire building, the creating of the space for 8 separate spaces for personnel, and creating what we consider a functional workspace. Over the last year, and Darren, you've probably seen this through things that have come through and things that technology's been doing, how important it is for the city, the security of the building, the safety and security of the servers that have our information on it and things like that is very important. Just a few items that's included in that number so you have an idea. Roof replacement, HVAC rework. The server room has to have a secondary or backup HVAC system for protection so it doesn't overheat in case the primary system goes out. ADA compliance in the bathrooms. Asbestos removal. It's an old building. There's asbestos around. And just some other items to make it a functional space for the personnel. So we went out for bid. Any amount of money is more than I want to spend, but if you're getting what you asked for and it's a competitive sealed bid, we feel like it's something we should probably move forward on.
Question. Does that include like new painting of all the surfaces, new carpeting?
Yes.
Is there any new furniture?
It does not include all the new furniture, but it does include.
That place really did need it.
Yes, it does.
Yeah,
It really
it's
does.
pretty dreary, isn't it?
I mean, our technology department is out there, and the building is in the past. We knew it would be a big investment, but it's what really is needed.
And this also re-roofs the 911 portion of
Yes,
that
sir.
building too, so.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this was originally, when we started talking about, was on the, kind of proposed to be on the consent agenda, but I wanted to just call it off, let us talk about it for a second, because it's an example of the investment that the city is making in our facilities. This was an initiative that we took on a couple of years ago. We did a study, actually before probably 2019 or 20 maybe, but the study kind of outlined all the needs that we have, and certainly we haven't met all the needs, but this is one of them. So we're kind of ticking them off, and trying to make sure that we take care of the assets we have so that they will last for a long time. And so our commission has done a lot of work in that area, and this is just, I think, another example of our commitment to it. So,
Curious, do they need new furniture in there? I mean, hate to give them
I'm
a
sure they
brand new
do.
building and then
Yeah.
so that's a question I don't know the answer to.
Yeah, we'll working through that through the budgetary process for FF&E.
Thank you.
I'd like to say in the future, maybe we can come forward and show you what we've done to facilities up to this point from
that'd be
last year's
great.
budget.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
Show
Yeah,
you where we're headed
Yeah.
with the next year's budget.
love to have that. Yeah, thank you
Thank
for
you.
that.
Thank you.
Okay, call roll.
Commissioner Henderson?
Aye.
Commissioner Smith?
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson?
Aye.
Mayor Bray?
Aye. So we have 2 ordinances to adopt. We read both of these a couple of weeks ago. The first one, I'll ask the city clerk to read on the CDBG grant.
A proposed motion of the Board of Commissioners to adopt an ordinance entitled, an ordinance amending ordinance number 2023-06-8777, entitled, an ordinance adopting the City of Paducah, Kentucky annual operating budget for the fiscal year July 1, 2023 through June 30, 2024, by estimating revenues and resources and appropriating funds for the operation of city government. This ordinance is summarized as follows: that the annual budget for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2023 and ending June 30, 2024, as adopted by ordinance number 2023-06-8777, be amended by the following reappropriations increase revenues and expenditures for the CDBG fund by $200,000.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Okay, I'll ask the city clerk to call roll.
Commissioner Henderson?
Aye.
Commissioner Smith?
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson?
Aye.
Mayor Bray?
Aye. I'll ask the city clerk to read the next code of ordinances.
A proposed motion that the Board of Commissioners adopt an ordinance entitled An Ordinance Amending Chapter 14 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Paducah. This ordinance is summarized as follows. This ordinance amends Chapter 14 of the Paducah Code of Ordinance to update language concerning proximity, maximum number, and cleanliness requirements for the keeping of fowl in Paducah. Further, this ordinance amends the penalty section to update the method by which fines are assessed and how abatement is handled. A new section is also created for abatement procedures related to pens and coops.
So moved.
Second.
So before we vote on this, I'll just mention one discussion item. There was a question that came from a couple of commissioners. We had a discussion about specifically calling out roosters, as currently the way that this code is written. It really just discusses the level of noise, and it doesn't specifically call out roosters. If that is something that we wanted to do, it became a problem or it became an issue for us, it's a different part of the code. It's not actually in this code at all, so it's really not up for discussion or adoption tonight. But if it's something that becomes an issue or it's something that we want to address, we'll have to address it separately at a different time. So just want to close the loop on that. Any other discussion before we vote? Call roll.
Commissioner Henderson?
Aye.
Commissioner Smith?
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson?
Aye.
Mayor Bray?
Aye. So we have two ordinances to introduce tonight, and I'll ask the city clerk to read the first one.
A proposed motion that the Board of Commissioners introduce an ordinance entitled An Ordinance Providing for the Closing of 24,710 square feet of Colonial Drive and 38,302 square feet of Deer Lick Place at 3750 Pecan Drive and 600, 601, and 675 Deer Lick Place, and authorizing the mayor to execute all documents relating to same. This ordinance is summarized as follows. The City of Paducah does hereby authorize the closure of 24,710 square feet of Colonial Drive and 38,302 square feet of Deer Lick Place at 3750 Pecan Drive and 600, 601, and 675 Deer Lick Place, and authorizes, empowers, and directs the mayor to execute quitclaim deeds from the City of Paducah to the property owners in or abutting the public way to be closed, and all other necessary documents to effectuate the closure.
So moved.
Second.
Melanie, you want to tell us about this?
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners, City Manager, City Clerk. We are at the Woodland Reserve property off of Pecan Drive, across from Heartland Church, right off of Hill Terrace. I know there was a lot of questions about what was going to happen to this piece of property. It has now changed hands, and so what we're doing is there are some right-of-way dedicated for roads that the developers do not want to build out. So that's what we're doing, is we're just closing those out. Then we'll go back in and they will put in a waiver of subdivision to make this, it'll actually be two pieces of property because they have already cut out this small piece right here. So we'll close these two pieces, and then they're going to come back in and they're going to have about 12 lots. The exact configuration of the lots has not been exactly determined, but they're looking between 2 and 3 acres per lot.
Oh,
So
those are
it's gonna
nice sized lots.
Yes, it'll be very nice sized lots. So we're really looking forward to this development going in. My understanding is that they will just be selling lots. They are not going to develop it out. They'll be selling the lots.
Okay.
And can you point that out again, what area we are?
Pecan Drive, Heartland Church is right up here.
All right.
So
And where was the street supposedly going to be, and we're
there's a
abandoning that?
part of a street here, and then it went up here to Hill Terrace, And then the other road runs through here, back up to Hill Terrace. And they are not wanting to develop any roads within the subdivision. So we're closing that.
So I actually grew up right across the street from that, so I'm very familiar with the property. Those, at one time, some of those, I'm not sure all of them, you know, they were dirt roads actually.
Right.
Back in the property, but, so they were undeveloped.
Yes, it's undeveloped
And this
right-of-way.
was the development that was out on Pecan, you know, where there was going to be a lot more homes, and so the developer, kind of at the 11th hour, just, you know, sold it to somebody else who wanted to develop it differently, you know,
Yes.
so. This is great, and I hope they're very successful. It's, you know, it's a great part of town.
It is, it's a nice place to be, and I think this lot size will make good lots for Paducah.
I was actually as a child, I was living on Pecan when somewhere along the way, the city annexed us in, you know. So we started out in the county and later become city. And so now I'm a city person, you know, so.
City guy, there you go. Very
The
good.
rest is history.
Yeah, the rest is history, so.
Any other questions? No?
Okay, thank you, Melanie.
You're welcome.
Call roll, please.
No, it's just
Oh, I'm sorry, that's an introduction. Okay, we have one more ordinance to introduce, and I'll let the city clerk read that one.
A proposed motion of the Board of Commissioners to introduce an ordinance entitled, an ordinance amending ordinance number 2019-06-8578, entitled, an ordinance adopting the City of Paducah, Kentucky annual operating budget for the fiscal year July 1, 2019 through June 30, 2020, by estimating revenues and resources and appropriating funds for the operation of city government. This ordinance is summarized as follows, that the annual budget for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2019 and ending June 30, 2020, as adopted by ordinance number 2019-06-8578, is amended to withdraw the commitment of $250,000 from committed pension reserve in the fund balance. Further, this ordinance withdraws the commitment to committed pension reserve in the fund balance of the general fund and investment fund in the amounts of $243,165 and $177,200, respectively. Further, ordinance number 2019-06-8579 is hereby amended by the following reappropriations: transfer $670,365 from general fund balance to project account EQ0036.
Moved.
Second.
So moved.
Yes.
Okay.
City manager.
Mayor and Commission, you may be wondering why we're talking about 2019 budget. So back at that time, the city, as all cities were being warned that the pension responsibility was going to severely increase in the next few years. And so, like a lot of cities, Paducah was proactive and started setting aside funds in anticipation of that pension requirement increasing exponentially. Fortunately, that prediction didn't come to pass, and so the reserve fund that was created for a pension reserve has grown since that initial allocation and subsequent funds being inserted in that to a little more than $670,000. So because of the stabilization and the realization that we would not need that pension reserve, the team looked at that and proposed that since we have an upcoming item to purchase in relationship to the enhancement of our 911 system, and that being radios, all new radios to operate on the new system for our team, almost estimated to be in that same ballpark of a figure, that we reallocate those funds from that 2019 and that have grown to be used and dedicated for the radio upgrade project for the purchase of radios. To do that, we have to repeal that original and then reauthorize that money. And so, again, I want to brag on our team for coming up with a creative solution to address an impending large capital outlay that doesn't require any new monies to be found. To be able to say, okay, we've got these dollars set aside, they're not going to be used. How can we maximize those dollars to the benefit of the community? That's what this is about.
So that fund was very similar in size to this
It
outlay?
actually, I mean, almost lined up as our estimated.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, and that's, again, kudos to our team for recognizing that we have an estimated cost of around $650,000 to $700,000 that's going to be needed for the radio purchase on initial. And we have these funds over here that were set aside for something we're not going to be able to use. And so it was fortuitous that amount was very close.
That's one way to put it, fortuitous.
I was about to get excited, we had new money to spend.
Yeah.
This is a great project for us to spend the money on.
Yeah, and I'll just give a little bit of an update on 911 too. The city manager and I have been in, discussions and pretty intense discussions over the last several weeks with the county, moving things forward, on 911, and we are very close to coming forward, with an interlocal agreement with the county as well as an ordinance, and so stay tuned for that. It's been a labor of love getting us to this point, but we are very close, and we have we have ordered new equipment, and we are in the process of moving forward with the installation of our new 911 system, which includes a new tower, which will increase coverage in the city and county up to approximately 95%, and we were far below that before, which has been documented in these meetings in the past. So very excited to get moving on 911. Comments from city manager?
No, we're excited to have all of our visitors in town this
Well,
week
that's
for
right.
Quilt Week. And just want to remind folks that there are one-way streets in our community. And just to be on the lookout, because our visitors may not understand which ones are the one-way streets. And so, so that's all I have.
Commissioner Henderson, you good? Commissioner Wilson, we all good? Yep, so we do have, of course, it's Quilt Week this week, but we do have a new director at the National Quilt Museum, which is a real positive development. Bonnie Schrock, he has a lot of executive administrative experience. It's really going to not only help the National Quilt Museum, but it's going to help the entire community and help us keep moving forward in the quilt world. So we're very excited about that. And nothing else from my perspective, and I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
Call roll.
Commissioner Henderson?
Aye.
Commissioner Smith?
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson?
Aye.
Mayor Bray?
Aye.